Absolute demolition from the English batsman there. It actually started okay for the Australians with obviously, Pat Cummins getting out, but then Hazelwood and Stark able to get an extra 20 or so runs there. Worked out well to begin, but then it was just all England from there, and a massive, massive congratulations to Crawley on that incredible innings. There was a little bit of luck in there, a few inside edges, back past the stumps and back past Alex Carey there, and I suppose it was eventually how he got out, but at 189, so yeah, incredible from him. Just start with the wind viz. It's got the draw at 49% there, and the weather forecast is not great at all. So it looks like rain for each of the next 3 days that we need for this test match. And the first two here have had a fair bit of sun, which has been nice for viewing, especially if you're an England fan with that 4 down for 384. So let's get into that innings there from Crawley at 189. 3 sixes, 21 fours. So, it was a lot of boundaries in there, around half of his runs, but I think the control for the most part was big for him, and he really started going for the most part over the top later in his innings. There was some, from about 60, 70 onwards, there was a bunch of those, on the up cover drives that he plays, which he does whack a lot of the time, but a lot of them do fly close to gully over the slips. If you have a couple of guys back down there on the fence, you probably get a catch there, but it's very hard to put two guys down there. They had one down there for a fair bit of that fly slip or something like that. But it's very hard for it to, when it's flying like that, to go straight to the man. But Zach just great. People talking about Aussie should have done a lot better on day one. This pitch here on day two, much improved, and it looked nice to bat. Facing the spin, obviously it's Travis Head, but that looked child's play, looked very, very easy on this wicket, especially to guys that were in as well, in Moeen Ali, in Crawley there, and then Joe Root that little bit later. But they were able to bat for long periods of time, and that's been the big thing that's been missing from, really them, the English there. There's been Duckett that's got a couple of big scores there, but for the most part, most of their batsmen have got out between 30 and 60 there. And you see Joe Root with 84. Moeen Ali did his job at 54 there, and then Crawley getting a big 100. And that's what takes a game away from a team. One big partnership, two big partnerships there, just to get, as I said, get the team away from it. 130 for two was when they lost Ali, and then 336 was when they lost Crawley, which is absolutely incredible. And the speed at which they were scoring as well. The lowest here, if we take out Marnus's one over, was Josh Hazelwood for 4.13 and Cam Green at 4. And the other guys were getting pumped. He had Head at 8 and over, Cummins at 5.81 at 16 overs, and then Stark just under 5. So they were never able to settle and get into their work, and that's what that's what really stunts this, and why it gets blown out so much is because of that speed of scoring, and obviously Crawley going at above a runner ball just anchors this innings. And then Joe Root, we'll get to that wicket in a sec, but that was an absolute shocker, and might give us a chance. But obviously the worry for England is that there's going to be plenty of rain about, and the Aussies are going to want, they're really going to want to draw from this, to be honest with you. I think their chances of winning this test match are completely gone. I have them personally at 0% to be able to win this test match, and draw is going to be their only real saviour there. But when you look at this, England have already got their lead at the end of day two. The way that most test matches go, is they're not in a position like this. If it's a 317, at this point at 72 overs, it would be about 250. It might be 3 or 4 down for 250, and you're still 60 behind, and then you've got to try and build that lead. Get towards halfway through day three, end of day three, and you're kind of only just getting like 100 or 150 ahead, and that's like, oh wow, it probably is a good chance of being a draw if the pitch is nice to bat on. But with a pitch like this, if you're scoring this quickly, you can set totals and send teams into bat under a bit of pressure to try and win the test match. And that's where the Bazball style for England has been really great to watch, because no matter what is happening in this test match, no matter what the pitch is doing, if it is easy to bat or whatever it is, they're giving themselves a chance to win. And that's obviously what we love about Test cricket is nice close games where we watch a lot of matches in Australia, especially over the summer, and if it is a pitch that is very much dead, there's nothing in it, not much bounce for the bowlers. That's something that even if it's fairly flat and nice to bat, if there's some nice bounce there, that you can get nicks, because if it does kick a little bit more, you get that higher part in the bat. If the bat's slightly angled, you're going to get that higher part of the bat there. and you can get nicks and you can get some catches from some extra bounce and stuff like that. But yeah, so really commend England on what they've been able to do in this test match, and obviously last one as well, to win that, being down 2-0 and to come back and put themselves in the best position to win this was incredible work. They batted much better than Australia, and that's why they're in this position. Yes, the pitch got a little bit easier, but the Aussies bowled okay. I just think England batted with much more concentration and were able to play more expansive shots than what the Aussies were. They looked very free in their scoring, and we know Moeen Ali has come into this this test arena since retiring and just doesn't have any pressure on himself. He's been asked to do a job. He's just coming out and doing his best, and that's what he did. Batting at 3, get 54 in this match just gave Joe Root, Crawley an easy platform to not worry about wickets at either end or the pressure being on. He just allowed Crawley to really settle into his work and just played a perfect 54 off 82 there before a great catch from Usman. That was a good one there. So Starkey got ducketed early. It just seems to be that similar type of ball that he's getting him, that they are getting him at all times. But a good one. You can't really fault Duckett too much. Face 5 balls at the time to nick one like that. Yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, the 2 wickets of Green on Crawley and then Joe Root off Hazlewood there both stayed really low. Hazlewood one was ridiculous to Root, and you'd be absolutely spewing to get out at 84 off 95, absolutely taking the piss. Did not look like getting out at all. To get a one that actually pretty much rolled and only stayed a little bit off the ground, which stopped it from being a no ball. But yeah, very upsetting because he would have been about 110 or so at least overnight. And another test 100 to his bow, which would have been amazing for him. But yeah, that partnership was awesome. You really just can't fault Joe at the moment. Like, you're looking at Smithy and Marnus, and they don't look completely comfortable. Whereas when Joe's in there, apart from that ball that Pat's been getting him, he just doesn't look like he's going to get out. And the quality of his stroke play is incredible. Crawley playing on the up there, those cover drives, like Joe waits until it's a little bit fuller, or if it's a tad shorter, he's playing that back cut and looking delightful at that. But yeah, it's crazy to watch, isn't it? These type of players like Crawley, but you think you bowl a pretty good ball. Sometimes you'll nick it, which he's shown that, and other times it's hitting the fence, and it's very, very frustrating. And then once he gets in, and in a test match especially, a lot of time you have a lot of your straight players up. You understand at the moment they've been having deep point, deep square leg back at least at a minimum, and fine leg. But straight, as soon as you're pitching it up there to these big boys, it's going over your head. And he was able to really, really exploit the Australian fielding placements, and just they didn't know where to bowl. And that's what you want in a guy that can score big runs, is someone that can really dominate attack and just not throw their wicket away. And even his wicket, I don't believe he was throwing it away. It was there. It was short to play, and it just didn't get up. And then he tried to change his stroke play to match it not getting up as much. But yeah, I suppose not too much else to say. They just really took it to the Australians. They batted better. They batted with more concentration, and they were able to get in a really positive lead. What was strange here is that Harry Brook comes out along with Stokes, and they score fairly slowly. Like Harry 14 off 41. Just means that the Aussies bowled fairly well there at the end to keep him from really dominating here. But I suppose coming in to this next day at 4 down for 384 gives them an awesome platform to start really well in this first session and kind of take the game away from Australia. Like I said, I feel like they have zero chance of winning, and give them every chance they can to get a result in this test match. So if they can get to a sort of 200 or so lead in this first test match, if these guys in this first innings, I should say, both of these two guys putting on a bit of a partnership. They've got Wokes and Bairstow and these guys down, coming in the next few that could really accelerate that. They need 130, 150 kind of more to put Australia under the pump. And then, see what they can come out and do in, maybe trying conditions, if it's overcast or whatever it is, tomorrow in the next few days. Hopefully there is plenty more play. We can see how the Australians kind of come back from this absolute demolition job on day 2. There's not been one day that's been like this in the 4 test matches, and unfortunately it's gone to England this time. And really, 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 for a fan of cricket, you want this to be 2-all coming into the 5th. You don't want it to be you want this test match to play out basically, and you don't want it to go 2-1 and then they're playing for a draw in the last one, especially with how dominant they were here. So we'll see how it goes. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and hope you enjoyed day 2. If you're an England fan, well done. If you're an Aussie fan, that was tough viewing. But we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy day 3.